Hi there, I'm Colin Lamb, and welcome to Ween Talk episode 40. And joining me today is a guy from the internet, Thompson. Thompson, how you doing?
Yes, full legal. Yeah. Good, good. How are you
Yeah,
doing, the tone wizard, my friend?
not too bad. And you're in Perth right now, right?
Yes, sir. I live in Perth.
Yeah, and I'm in South Australia. So you've got, and originally you said you're from Philadelphia, and you're
Near
in,
Philadelphia, but yeah.
yeah, and I'm from bloody Canada. So what are you doing in Australia?
No. Uh, a girl dragged me over.
Oh, dude, a girl, I got a wife, I got a 3 year
Yeah.
old. You're never gonna leave this place, man.
Nah, I don't
Um,
want to now.
no, prison colony jokes notwithstanding, it's a nice place
Yeah.
to be. So,
Oh, it's
yeah,
wonderful.
man,
Yeah.
right on. You contacted me via my Instagram at Tone Wizard and found the channel talking about Ween. And I just want to invite anybody else who might be watching this, if you want to come chat about Ween. It's not a question of if I have the time; it's a question of when I don't have the time. So just reach out if you want to get in touch and be on here. So, anyways, man, you want to talk about some Ween? Is there anything you'd like to talk about, or you just
Sure.
want to? Yeah,
I just thought it'd be funny. Really, it's,
sure.
it's maybe a. I think it was that it was just be absurd that I just got into weed, and I'm like, I was chatting to a friend he's doing a record shop. He's big into music.
Yeah.
Um, and as a joke, we're like, we should start a Ween podcast because
Mm.
we're talking about Ween for like weeks and weeks.
Yeah.
I don't know if we were serious, and then I looked it up and I was like, you have to believe this is a Ween podcast already.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what,
Um,
there is another one. I'll put a link to it in the description. This guy, Evan, and his buddies, I think it's called Weencast podcast or something, but I had that same kind of idea, but nobody would do it with me. So I just started doing it by myself.
yeah, fair enough.
And yeah, how'd you get into Ween?
My girlfriend. Well, I kind of had like music block, if that's a thing. I just
Yeah.
couldn't get into anything new.
Yeah.
Everything was overwhelming. Everything has so much lore. Everyone's like, you gotta listen to this and this and this because of this and this and this. So I was just like, one night my girlfriend just put on, what was it? Can't put my finger on it.
Yeah.
Uh, we're just
Mhm.
having some beers, and I was like, this is amazing. So
Yeah.
I think the next one was Freedom of 76. 'Cause I'm from Philadelphia, so I'm like,
Yeah.
South Street, Liberty Bell. Where are these guys from?
Yeah. Yeah.
So then I started getting into it, and when I start listening to something, I just listen to it nonstop
Yeah.
for weeks and weeks and weeks. So I just didn't stop listening to it.
Yeah.
Now it's been a few months, and I'm like,
Oh,
they're
so
like, I
you're
think one of the best bands ever.
you're pretty fresh into it then, eh?
Yeah, that's. I
Yeah.
thought this would be a funny contrast because
Yeah.
well, I think in your first podcast, you said you would listen to it for like, I don't want to date you here, like 15, 20 years.
No, no, I'm 41, so that's exactly how dated I am. But I actually got into it like 2009, 2008, and this guy,
Oh yeah.
I still make bad music, but I used to make all kinds of bad music, and me and my buddy were working on music, and he said that it sounded like this band Ween that he knew, so he made me a mix CD, and the only track that I liked on the CD at first actually wasn't even a Ween song; it was a song that's falsely credited to Ween, which you should check out, but it's called Western Skies. I'll
Oh
send you
yeah.
a link to it. It's a good
Oh
track, but it
yeah.
it does sound a lot like Ween. And I ended up tracking down who originally did it. It was a band called the something Chimps or whatever. But yeah, he gave me the CD. I didn't like any of the songs, but the one song that wasn't Ween. But then as time went on, it would kind of be there and I would put it on again. And then I got into it. I think I like the song Transdermal Celebration or something like that that got me in there. But yeah, it's
One of
it's
the
a great
best songs I think of all time.
it is, and it's a great band to discover. Like, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 26.
26. Okay, you got lots of disappointment ahead of you. But no, you've got lots of wonder ahead of you, but especially with Ween, because there's shit that I find still that like on compilations and on Reddit and stuff like that, and just YouTube, there's shit that I still find that I haven't heard before.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so yeah, man. So I presume you haven't seen Ween yet.
In person?
Yeah.
No, I was real disappointed to learn that I'm about a year too late for that.
Well, fuck. I mean, on that note, I mean, I'm hoping that they can get back out on the road, and I'm hoping that they can make a new album. But in the meantime, for you, man, there must be tons of shit that you haven't heard still.
Well, I've listened to all of Ween
Yeah.
as far
Oh,
as I can tell, which
okay.
is um, this is going to be funny to the people watching this. I'm now just getting into Primus.
Yeah.
uh,
Oh, it's a
after listening to Ween.
gateway
I know.
drug to each other, man.
I know. And I'm
Yeah.
like Pork Soda is like, oh my God,
Yeah.
one of
Did
the
did
best
you
albums I've ever heard.
did you see the South Park
The
must be
25th
yeah,
anniversary or
yeah,
something?
yeah, geez, yeah. I'm not gonna date them, but yeah, did you watch that concert?
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
It's fantastic.
that was fucking rad, man. But this is actually interesting because a lot of people that I have talked to on here were like guys like back in 1991, I had a cassette that I used to listen to in my Tercel. But most
Yeah.
people, on an interesting note, most people's girlfriends tend to leave them or distance themselves from them when you get super into Ween. Like my
At least
lady's
the opposite for me, yeah.
she's fucking had enough. I was even in a Ween. This is how bad it got, man. Do you play an instrument at all? I see
I
something.
used to play the saxophone.
Okay, I see some. I
Not
don't know what.
well, not
I don't
well.
know. I don't know what that is in the background. What's that machine behind you over your right shoulder?
Oh, so I'm a bit of a nerd. It's a 3D printer.
Oh, okay. It almost looked like a reel-to-reel recorder, which would be less or more nerdier depending on which side of the nerd fence you're sitting on. But yeah, man, I got into Ween, and then I was in a Ween tribute band in Vancouver, and it was like more popular and successful than anything that I ever did, like of my own accord, because you just meet other people that are fucking all in. There's nobody. There's
Yeah,
some people would be like, especially here in Australia, because they had some radio hits here, as I'm sure you know, like
yeah.
Push the Little Daisies and Voodoo Lady were hits here, but you know,
Mm.
most people they just don't know what it is at all. And yeah, my lady's definitely sick of it. So good for you for finding a lady who pulled you into the fucking vortex,
Yeah,
man.
she brought me in the wing. That might be a first.
Yeah. Yeah. So how like is she super into it or just like
Oh yeah, she's a. It's good. We're a good contrast because when I hear names or song names, artist names, it's in one ear out the other. Where
yeah,
she just retains all of it, so it's great. So I'm like, what's this guy's name? What's this guy's name?
yeah.
So she just keeps all that knowledge for me, so I
No,
can just
nice.
listen to the music. Because I
Yeah.
just put on like I'm sure music nerds would hate that I don't even know song names because I just put on an album because I drive a lot for work.
Yeah.
Just let the album play through, and if I like something, I'll save it to a playlist or something. But other than that, I just listen through everything
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
much as I can.
That's the way to go. And that is the good thing about Spotify is that you can do something like that. But so far, what's your favorite Ween album?
So I listen to all of it twice through because
Yeah.
I don't watch reviews. I hate reviews. I like form my own opinion and then I can get into it, like get into
Fucking
the rest of it.
fucking
So
people doing reviews and podcasts,
I know.
scum
How
of the
dare they?
fucking earth. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I just it's people. Maybe this is just me. It forms my opinion, and then I
Yeah.
don't like my opinion being formed before I listen to it. And I've unfortunately just landed on every single generic, everyone's favorite Ween albums as my
Yeah.
favorite.
Well, what's
Um,
yours? You might be surprised actually.
Quebec, come on.
Yeah. That's mine too. But if you talk to like a lot of people I've talked to on the channel and in the comments down below, and I'm sure somebody will comment here, it's usually like the Pod and Godween Satan. People like
Oh,
that.
really, Pod?
Yeah, yeah. People like the Pod, and I've like shit on the Pod on the channel, and people take great umbrage to me doing that. Like
I mean, The
and
Stallion Part One and Two are two of the best songs ever made.
yeah, 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 for sure.
Come on.
And there's a guy one of the Ween bands that I used to play with. I used to have there were 4 or 5 groups that I used to get together in Vancouver, BC, in Canada, and we all used to play it. And my buddies did the entire Stallion suite. And
Nice.
as far as we can tell, up until I think Ween reunited the last time, um, that was the only time that it had ever been, as far as we know, because we searched like archive.org for recordings and stuff. It was like the only full performance of the Stallion suite until they got back together. And I don't even know if they did the full thing. Somebody can probably tell us in the comments, but if it's ever been done again. But
Yeah,
yeah,
nice.
yeah,
I'm also a big fan of their first album. I just think that's like it's got to be the start of their first album is ridiculous.
yeah, it is good. I still lean towards the more have better produced stuff like Chocolate and Cheese in Quebec and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Do you have a favorite Dean Ween guitar solo?
you may be testing my knowledge here. I don't
Mm.
think I've gotten into the weeds that far. What would you give me an example of
Guitar, well,
one
the
of your
guitars.
favorites?
I mean, I like The Sweetheart in the Summer guitar solo sounds like
Oh
Dire
yeah, yeah,
Straits.
yeah,
Sounds like
yeah.
what's just one sec. What's that crunching noise in the background? It's like
Oh,
a
sorry, maybe my mouse.
oh yeah, yeah. I could just hear that
I'll stop
thing.
that.
Yeah, yeah, thanks. For my
Yes.
my sanity, I was like, what is that? I got a 3-year-old son. I'm like, he's in the fucking roof, he's in the ceiling, he's clawing in here. Every time I
Yeah,
get the
sorry about that.
stuff, every time I get the stuff set up, he wants to come in and he says I'm doing business, and I'm rarely doing anything truly productive or business related. But yeah, so my favorite solos, I think I covered it on the channel, but it's been a fucking while and a lot of beers since then. But I like the Sweetheart in the Summer solo, but I think my favorite one is Tried and True, that solo, because there's kind of like four different sections to the solo and four different like really prominent sort of effects. So those would definitely be my favorites.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the guitar in Tried and True is just ridiculous.
Yeah,
It's so good.
yeah,
And then I mean, that's also just the production on Quebec. Gosh, it's just so good. And then it's it's so profound that they have so many. I mean, I'm sure this has been talked about many times, but they're like there's no genre to Ween.
yeah.
Or
No,
everything.
yeah.
Everything's different.
Yeah. They're I have openly and with enthusiasm and sincerity compared them to the Beatles, just because from the start to the finish, there's really no comparison in what they were doing. But even earlier on, you could see there were these little kernels of like really great songs, like the song Sorry Charlie, which I could be wrong here. My knowledge is not infinite, and my brain's rarely accurate, but I think it's off of the pod or God Ween Satan. But Sorry Charlie, the original recording of that is fucking dog shit. And if you hear, in my opinion, but then if you hear them play it live at Stubbs, it's a great song. It's like a little country bar song, like
Yeah.
yeah, it's just a good song. I think it's a CDG chorded song, and it's just a great song. So yeah, they're fucking
So
amazing.
what do you think about how they kind of mix up their sounds when they're on stage? Like when they did Keep Up My Finger on It for the Conan O'Brien show?
Yeah.
Like how
Well,
do
I
you feel
think
when they mix it up?
I think sometimes there's two things going on. I think some of their early production was so bad that it almost couldn't be created like for performance without
Yeah.
being better, because as they became a band and they got the proper equipment, and obviously Dean and Gene are music nerds. Like if you ever see old pictures of them, they're in the room with all the gear spread out around them. So as
Yeah,
they
yeah,
got
of
better
course.
stuff, they were able to do it a lot better, sort of thing. And then
Yeah.
like that Conan O'Brien performance, which is fucking classic,
That's amazing.
is
Yeah.
like I think they just had the resources, and I think they went out and just got the guy. I could be wrong about the story, but the guy who's in that video with them on stage, I think they just found him at
No,
a shawarma place or
they
something like
tried
that.
to get him. They tried to get him on stage, but
Yeah.
he said he wanted $100 and then didn't show up.
Oh yeah. Fuck. I can't remember the exact story. You know it better than I do, man. And by the way,
It's all it's all fresh. So
yeah,
yeah.
this is a Canadian thing, but do you know who Norm Macdonald is?
Hey, of course I know Norm
You
Donald.
you
Yeah.
look a lot like Norm Macdonald.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, yeah, man. A young Norm Macdonald, not the currently dead Norm Macdonald, but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, anyways, that
Wait,
was
we're
just
talking
right.
about that Norm Macdonald, right?
The comedian.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Yes.
yeah, yeah.
My girlfriend's quite a big fan of Norm Macdonald, so
Oh,
maybe
oh,
I need to have a
Jesus.
conversation.
Yeah, I don't know if my girlfriend wanted to be with a bald guy, but that's what she got. But your girlfriend's got Ween, and she's looking for Norm Macdonald. I think you landed a good one, man. Yeah,
No, she introduced me to a lot of stuff. She used to be in a band, and
yeah,
she's a big music nerd, and I've just been too like scatterbrained to ever nail down, a sound or something I like.
yeah.
So I just, yes, it's been good.
It is good. They're such a good fucking band to get into and to excavate in there. And I would encourage you to like go look, still continue to look for B-sides and tracks. Like there's a song. Jesus Christ, there's a fly flying around here. There's a song called For So.
Australia.
There's this, yeah, at least it's not a fucking, it's ants down here, by the way. Anybody who's never been to Australia, they're like, shark will bite your dick off and a snake will bite your dick off. But it's not the case. It's ants. It's ants,
The
and
flies and the ants.
it's the fucking ants. Like we live on a farm. There's five different kind of ants that you could get bitten by, and to avoid the big ones. But then I went to go take a piss beside a little bush, and they were ants all over eating the aphids. And then all of a sudden, like my whole arm is like on fire, and it's just a
Yeah.
thousand ants biting my arm, and it's like not bad enough to hurt, but it's like, holy fuck, ants.
Do they have the green? Is this such a tangent? Do they have the green ants in Adelaide?
Gray ants.
Green ants?
Green ants, no, no. We've got hopper ants, I think, and
Okay.
then the bullet like inch ants or whatever.
Oh, do you have those ones?
Yeah, and with the hopper ants, apparently, this is very fucking useful information for anybody. But the hopper ants, apparently, they send more people to the hospital with anaphylactic reactions than anything else. And in my
Oh,
line of
no
work,
kidding.
I work outside. I've met like 4 or 5 different families, and I show up to the site, and the one family was like, "Oh, there's a 5 foot brown snake on the deck the other day," and then my wife and my daughter got bit by ants, and we had to go to the hospital on fucking Sunday. And yeah,
Yeah.
country is full of challenges. But anyways, not Ween related. If from your so far in your journey, if you had to pick one Ween song to lift your mood, like just something to put you in a good mood, what would it be?
I think it depends on my mood, I suppose, but it's going to be a long night. Just gets
Yeah.
me hyped up in like the perfect kind of way because it's, you know, as of like burgeoning fan of Motorhead, my dog's name is Lemmy.
Mm,
It's very Motorhead. It just gets you hyped up. It lifts your spirits.
it
Really big
does.
fan if it's going to be a long night.
I would go waving my dick in the wind because
That's a
it's
fair
just,
answer.
yeah, you've got everything. You got a really upbeat chording, and then you've got that little dance number in the middle from
Yeah.
Jimmy Wilson there.
Yeah, it's
And
awesome.
I went and saw them. I went to the reunion when they got back together, the after the 2011 sort of shenanigan, which I was at that breakup show. I don't know if you've seen on the channel. That's kind of why I started the podcast. I was at the one in
And your
Vancouver.
first, I did want to ask you about that. I actually turned off. I turned off that podcast because I didn't want to hear the drama yet. I
Well,
wanted.
in all fairness, if I made that episode again, I wouldn't have made it the way that I made it. It was my first one, and people. I mean, it's got like 20,000 views. It's brought a lot of people into the channel, but some people said that I was kind of negative about it. But I was just kind of saying what I saw, and from that perspective, like of just getting into Ween, being like all pumped and then super let down and not understanding like what was happening or the backstory to it. And more information's come my way now, but so I probably would have done it differently, but I don't know. I leave it up because why not?
Well, I know they both have some mental health struggles,
Yeah.
and especially when it comes to touring. And I think that's why they've broken up most recently, or
Yeah.
at least taken a hiatus from touring. As I was reading some articles about it, because I was like, okay, are they doing shows? Do I have a chance to see them? But
Yeah.
um,
I don't think they're gonna, on the note of you going to see them, I think you're gonna have to go home to see them because
yeah, I think
a
so as
lot
well.
of bands like forget about Ween. Like a lot of bands just aren't leaving the States because of the cost. And they can I think it's just so much cheaper for them to stay down there. And I even noticed in like post COVID, like a lot of bands not coming up to Canada anymore. And it's starting to
Yeah,
get a little better now, but I don't know. I don't foresee Ween ever leaving the country again. So
and if they did, they'd have to, sell out an arena or something to make it worth it.
yeah, exactly. It's not like the old days.
Get
I think,
people out.
yeah, they got huge costs to cover. I mean, it might be a spectacle. I mean, if they like, they could come and play like Sydney and Melbourne or whatever, but I don't see them. Definitely
Actually, no.
not
Do you know?
coming.
Do you know if they've ever come here
They did.
to
I'm pretty
Australia?
sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they have. Yeah, we could look it up, but I'm not going to do that on camera. But somebody will know
I'll let
down
the
in the
audience
comment.
wait while we're
Yeah,
googling stuff.
yeah, I
It's
can even.
keyboards clicking
Yeah,
away.
I don't want to have to edit this. It's going well. No, but yeah, I don't know. I think you'll have to go back, but I would do it, man. I'm sure you're going to go back to visit your family, but I would just wait till they get back because I do see them getting back out there because in a callous way, like same with the last one, like I don't know if they're going to do another album. I don't know if they have the ability to work together anymore from what I've read. Like I've done some probing onto Reddit because I've been trying to come up with new ideas for the podcast, but it's kind of depressing because you're just like, oh, like how far do you go? Like favorite Ween songs in the key of D, like
Yeah, I know.
I'm into it, but I don't want to dig too deep, right? So, but I don't know. I think they'll get back together and they'll do another tour, and that's when you should plan your
Yeah,
family visit. So,
I would like to. I think so. Me being 26, you probably
yeah,
guess the first Ween song I've ever heard, um, which was from the SpongeBob SquarePants movie.
Yeah, yeah. Ocean Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's all. I didn't even know that was Ween, and I
yeah,
was listening to the Boss, and I was like, "This is this is Ween."
yeah,
No kidding. And
yeah,
then, but you can kind of track back to like the resurgence in 2016 to when because I turned 18 in 2016 and I listened to that song on SpongeBob SquarePants. So I wonder if people were going into college
yeah,
knowing Ocean Man and got into Ween in college because
yeah.
started smoking and that sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe that they saw the blip on the Spotify and they're like, Gene called up to him. We've got to get back together, man.
I get the band back together, yeah.
There's gold in these hills.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It would be nice, like for me, like my dream is that they do another album because have you checked out their solo albums yet?
I have not. I was going to
Oh,
watch a video of yours going over their solo albums. I haven't
yeah.
dug that deep yet.
Well, I'll save you that fucking waste of time and I'll tell you what you should listen to right now. You should listen to the Freeman album. That's fucking awesome. And then the Diener album. So there's like I think the Freeman album was just called Freeman, and then the Diener one's called the Diener album. Pretty on the nose, but those are awesome. And I think that if you were to imagine a new album had come out with Ween, I think those two albums, the best stuff on those would have been a Ween album, and obviously the
Oh
guitar
yeah.
playing on Diener's album would have been better, or on Gene's album would have better, and the singing would have been better on Dean's side of the album. So yeah, I would check those out though because those are awesome. That Freeman album, like it's there's a really good track that deals with that situation in Vancouver. There's a track like kind of directly about that, and it's like a narrative from Aaron's perspective, from Jeaner's perspective, and he talks about it. And there's like a really good release in that. So I mean, I don't even know how valuable it is talking to me. I would just end this fucking call and go listen to that. But no, I got you for a little while longer. Um,
So,
oh, go
so
ahead.
briefly, what this is probably rehashed many times. What exactly happened in Vancouver? I'm ready. I'm ready to hear it.
Okay,
The-
so what happened was, as I understand it, without being negative, is they were on tour. Jeaner was having trouble keeping it together for a while with regards to substances.
yeah, yeah.
And the story that I heard, and again, I'm just a fucking guy on the internet reading things that I heard on the internet. Somebody claimed that he did whippets or something before the show. It
Who
doesn't really
knows this?
matter. It doesn't matter what he did. There's whippets everywhere in this kind of scene. But
Yeah.
yeah, but and if you ever get into fish, we can talk about whippets. You can come back on and we can do a whole fucking hour on whippets and balloon
I was just
huffing.
about to say, yeah.
Yeah, are you into fish at
The
all or?
it's a burgeoning. It's a fish I have a little bit too much context for. I
Yeah,
think I need to ease myself into it because fish just has this kind of aura of hippie, dirty
yeah,
shit
yeah.
music.
It's that would be fair. And I did a whole series on my channel about getting into fish. So I'm a biased party, but
Oh, did you
there's
really? I'm gonna have to watch it.
yeah, I even went to a fish concert, and you want to talk about balloon huffing? Oh my god, I think I've got a video where I have like the audio. I think I recorded the audio. I don't know if I shared video of it, but at the parking lot to the fish concert, all you could hear was.
Yeah, of course.
I'll do the audio escape for you now.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was like that times like 500, man. But anyways, I digress. So Junior was having a
So the
hard time.
stereotype fits. Yeah.
Junior was having a hard time keeping it together. We don't know for sure what he was on. He could have just been wasted. Who knows? He was, when I saw him, he was like pretty, he didn't look well. Like the Junior's like a healthy guy. He's got a lot more, he's carrying around a lot more healthy body weight. His face looks healthy. His voice sounds great, but his like voice was kind of retreated during that show. They came
Ah,
out and he kind of crashed out of a bunch of tracks. And I was super, super stoned and very drunk. So to be fair, officer.
at a Ween show.
Um, yeah, really. Like I think I told the story as I was actually I didn't even know there wasn't going to be an opener. So I went into the washroom. I smuggled a Mickey in down my pants, and I went in to go mix a drink. And as I was mixing the drink,
Nice.
I heard Transdermal Celebration start. And then they were playing. I think they did like Buckingham Green, and I can't remember the exact series of events, but it started to kind of fall apart, and I think he was dropping some lyrics, and And then you could tell that the band, definitely Mickey, was like, they didn't like come to blows or say anything to each other on the stage. They kept it pretty civil. But at one point I remember they did like a bunch of Jeaner songs like all in a row, and then they did a huge long version of Man and Woman, I think it was, or Reggae Junkie Drew. This is going back in my mind now, but it just seemed like, oh, what's Jeaner doing? And then the band finished, and I think that they just fulfilled, like, if I was to guess, they fulfilled their contractual obligation to the theater. And then Jeaner came back out solo, and then he performed some solo stuff, and he was kind of sat at the front of the stage and people were yelling out song names, and he played, I think it was Birthday Boy. And I was just very confused. And I was like, because I was all screwed up and everybody was, I was like, oh, this just must be a Ween show. And then I like ran into a buddy afterwards, and he was on acid, and he's like, fuck, what just happened? And people were all shook. And then they did a couple of nights. I think they went down to Seattle and Portland. Those shows were fucking awesome. And then they went on hiatus. And yeah, that's all I
Whoa.
know. Yeah.
So you just hit, so your first show, they just were having a bad night.
It was a bad night. And, like all the sports teams that I like suck. And every time I go see them, they lose. And I was like, oh, fuck, I just killed Ween. Like,
You
shit,
cursed.
man. What? That's not good. But yeah,
So wait, at that show, did they have what's the drummer's name?
Claude
Claude,
Coleman.
who does
Yep.
a lot of this stuff. So
Yep.
they had him there as well.
Yeah, the core band, Claude, Glenn,
Nice. Yeah,
um,
nice.
the regular bass players. It starts with a D. I'm blanking on the name right now. I don't want to waste time doing that. But yeah, that core group, I think, has been together since after Stubbs, I believe.
Oh yeah.
And at Stubbs, the live at Stubbs, their producer, Andrew, I think something or other, I can't remember the name, but he played bass for them for that live show, and he may have played on some of the albums, but I think Diener did a lot of the bass work too. So
Yeah,
yeah,
nice.
yeah. So favorite song to lift any mood? You're gonna go with you went with Long Night. What about this? Let's get into some emotional. Let's plumb some depths of the heart. What's the saddest, or maybe most, a different way to frame it, most beautiful Ween song?
Well, I think like Transcendental Celebration, and also just the story that goes behind how they recorded it.
Yep.
With what was it, Santano or something's
Yep.
audio
Yep.
equipment. They
Yep.
went and stole it from a storage shed. Uh, yeah, that the whole like aura and myth around that song and just how it flows. It's just like a beautiful song, tried and true. Transcendental Celebration, beautiful songs.
Yep.
Birthday Boy gets
Yep.
me, especially like how the album starts with "You fucked up" and then it goes into "Birthday Boy" towards the end.
Yep.
It was just in a certain mood for that album when I heard it, but
Yeah.
so what would you go with?
I always go with Back to Basin for a sad Ween song. And long story short, I went through a breakup, and then I listened to that song, and it was a part that's like the dancer who has lost her leg. And I started fucking crying to
Oh my God,
that.
that's
So,
funny.
like I say, you're still a young man. You'll get there someday. Um, but I don't know. What's your read, even as a new fan? What's your read on the band? Like, it's nice to have a fresh perspective. Like, what do you think that you think they'll make another album based on everything you've seen even at this
I
point?
hope they leave it as is, honestly.
Hmm. That's
I
interesting as a
think
new fan.
I, maybe I don't like when I don't like when they come back. Maybe if they come back with the right intentions,
Yeah.
not as it like if it's not monetary, they come back and they want to put something together that's good and for the fans and something like that.
Yeah.
You know, why not? But other than that, I like where they left it. Like I think they had
Yeah.
a good string of albums that came out. I don't know where La Cucaracha fits in that string. It's not my favorite album, but
Yeah.
what did the old heads think?
Well, I mean, I don't profess to speak for any other Ween fan, and certainly if you try to, they'll fucking try
Roast you
to
with coals, yeah.
reach through the internet and pull your
Yeah.
dick off or something. But hearing your perspective is interesting, because there's a very selfish part of me that wants new music. But I think the important thing is to them, and I think that they respect their own back catalog, and maybe that's why they haven't just thrown something together for the sake of it. They don't seem to do anything for the sake of it. I mean, they've basically abandoned 2 tours now, without
Yeah.
any real care for the monetary consequences. And I don't know how they're set up, because I think they got into the music industry at the tail end of things, and now I believe they have control over their own catalog and distribution through Choco Dog.
Nice.
I think maybe some of the early albums might still belong to recording companies, but I think that some of the early stuff that they did were through small companies that were distributed by bigger companies. So I think they have their own distribution and stuff now. So in terms of money, if they were to do something, they would be well supported, and I wouldn't begrudge them for doing it. But I mean, I would hate to hear a Ween album that sounds like they're past it, sort of thing. So maybe you're right. Maybe they should just leave it.
Like they're just like just in general, they're held in such high regard as
Yeah.
like musical geniuses.
Yeah.
Uh, that you know. So what did people think when they did the 2024 remaster of Chocolate and Cheese?
Honestly, I talked to a number of people who ordered the package with the vinyl, and
Yeah.
people said that they liked it. I didn't hear a lot about it online, and I haven't heard it myself, so I couldn't say
Ah, really?
definitively. But
Okay.
what about yourself?
Uh, People are gonna hate me. I've only ever listened to the 2024 remaster, except for the YouTube videos.
Yeah, is
So
that what the Spotify is now? Is it the
yeah,
remaster?
it's the
Huh.
remaster.
I wonder if they still have the old versions, because I was listening to a
They do, yeah,
podcast.
they do. So I
Okay.
have listened to both, but
Yep.
like I said, I just play through everything. So
Yeah.
one ends, the next one begins. I don't know which was
Yep.
which. I don't think I do like a bit of a refined sound. Like you said, they had a bit like the recording equipment was pretty
Yeah.
bad back when they started,
Yep.
and maybe the raw sound is what people enjoy more about them. But
Yeah. I
I
think
enjoyed the remaster.
the super early stuff, like Chocolate and Cheese, I think was I think it was the first one they went into a big studio to do, because I think that's what
Oh yeah.
I think, if you know that performance that they did of Freedom of 76 on that talk show. Have you seen that? Yeah,
Hmm.
that's
Hmm. Yeah,
fucking
of
hot with the
course.
tape machine. And they
Yeah,
talk
it's
about
insane.
going into a big studio and blowing out 24 tracks or whatever, like. And I think, yeah, I don't know. I think that if stuff is recorded modern, like, I don't know why it would really need to be remastered if it was done in the modern era. And the early stuff, if you lose any of the nuance trying to make it sound better, like, none of that stuff should be touched. Like, you should hear tape hiss and the weird shit going on in the background,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like the Zeppelin albums where you can hear the kick pedal squeaking,
Hmm.
and then the Beatles recordings where you can hear somebody, because they're not using click tracks and digital, that you can hear somebody counting in a guitar take. Like, you hear a faint
Oh,
voice
really?
going 1, 2, 3. Like, there's a track
Oh,
by
that's just awesome.
the Beatles. Do you know the Beatles at all? Listen to much of that, or?
It's as much as any casual human being on this earth
Yeah,
has, you
you
know.
can't avoid it. It's kind of like ants in
Yeah.
Australia. But
Yeah, true.
there's a track, I can't. It's called it's I want to die. It's got a depressing name. I'm blanking on it. It's off the White Album. It's like, yes, I'm lonely, want to die. If I ain't dead already, girl, you know the reason why. I can't remember what the name of the song is. Anyways, in that one, you can hear the during some of the musical breaks, John Lennon singing the lyrics to keep place of where they
Yes,
are
I've heard about
in the
this.
track.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So I don't think anything like that should be lost, because it's like stuff
Right.
like that. I mean, when I was like 16, 17, listening to shit on headphones, and you hear, you're like up like at night listening to music, and you hear something like that, and you're like, fuck, it's like a little echo from the past, sort of thing. So I don't know. I'm
Yeah, yeah.
not big on a lot of the remasters, to be honest with you.
Which is probably fair. And if I've been listening to something for, not to date you again, 15, 20 years, I
Yeah.
probably dislike it as well. But I just listened to Black Sabbath. I only heard like Black Sabbath songs passively. I never
Yep.
just like sat down and listened through all the albums.
Yep.
And the remasters are on Spotify, so that's what I listened to. So then after listening to everything, I went on Reddit, and I think the first Reddit post I saw was somebody just absolutely trashing the remaster, like this is a
Yeah.
disgrace, you know?
Mm.
I'm like, oh man.
Because in some of those, like, without going too far into it, because this stuff interests me greatly, but some of those early mixes, you'd have a guy, an engineer, you'd have the producer, and then a lot of the bands like Zeppelin and I think Sabbath to a degree, they would be involved in the mixing. And sometimes, like back in the day, like the band members would be individually moving faders and shit like that. So like stuff like that, like the mixing and the mastering is actually part of the performance, so that you'll never replace that finished product because maybe Dean or Gene or whoever the artist is, they wanted you to hear this guitar swell at this point, or they wanted to hear this fucking snare going here, and then somebody who goes to remaster it, they're just like thinking of the overall thing, and then you lose some of the fucking nuance of the music. But
Yeah, and I also think the remasters are for people like me, where I like high fidelity
yeah.
uh, and stuff like that, and I'm not a musical nerd purist, which is
Yep.
probably a detriment, but
No, man, it's just however you enjoy it is how you fucking enjoy it, man. It's like it's like coffee. You move to Australia, they're nuts about coffee here, and
it's so good
I'm
here.
I never put much consideration to it. I just like it like black and hot. So, which is kind of inappropriate
That's a bit
sounding.
blasphemous to me, but
Yeah, yeah,
I'm sure what
yeah.
I just said was blasphemous to you, so that's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. No, man. Well, hey, I'll tell you what. We've got 3 minutes left on this call before Zoom is going to
Oh,
cut us
is it
off.
really?
But
Okay.
here's the thing, man. I think it'd be interesting if you want to come back on again, dude. I've enjoyed talking to you. And
Yeah, it's fun.
if you say no here, you'll greatly embarrass me. But if you want to go
No,
listen to those fucking solo albums,
I'm
right?
going to right after we end the
Yeah,
call.
I would love to hear what your thoughts on there. And hey, we are going to wrap this up because it's gone on as long as my cheap ass free version of Zoom will allow.
No, I don't
But
get
if
Zoom money.
anybody else out there want to come on and have a chat about Ween in this time where we have not much going on about Ween, if you want to come on and talk to me, maybe Thompson will join us. You never know. We could do anything here, and it's absolutely free. But if you've enjoyed this,
Just
please
have some fun.
subscribe and
Talk
follow
about Ween.
along. Yeah. Anyways, Thompson, man, very nice to meet you and talk to you.
Nice
And
to meet you, Colin.
go listen to those albums, dude. And we'll chat again soon, man.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
All right. Thank you very much, man. Take
All
care.
right, you have a good one.
Bye bye.
Bye.